Ladies and gentlemen, we are back more than Mike King. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network. We're coming to you from U-Turn, but more importantly, Danielle Gilbert, she had this brainchild of an event. Her and these women are, they've come out and they've written a book, and we are at that event. I got a celebrity in the house right here. Lady wears many hats. I always say it's a business show, so tell us who you are and what you do.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Shonda Harris Muhammad. I'm the honorable.
Oh yes, that's I was waiting for that.
I'm the honorable Dr.
Yeah,
Shonda
sir. We have put some
Muhammad.
respect on that name right there with them credentials. Tell people what you do.
I am a 31-year educator. I currently serve in Southampton County Public Schools as their coordinator of pupil personnel, hearing officer, and DDOT, Director of Division of Testing. I also serve. I have the honor and pleasure to serve on the Richmond School Board representing the 6th District as well as the current chairwoman.
So that's a big thing. So that's how I know you. You're at all the things. Shout out to my man Jonathan Young. You guys are doing some really big things. So for people who didn't know, and I remember we always talked about back in the day, school districts providing students with supplies and everything. And if I asked you 5 years ago, would any school district be able to provide every kid a laptop? Every educator is just like, no, couldn't do it.
Not 5 or 7 years ago, because the funding
but
to do that
you guys made it happen.
We made it happen.
And Richmond City is at the forefront of doing some really cool things. Explain some of the things the hurdles that you guys have jumped through, and some of the success stories that you guys came out of the pandemic with.
So during the pandemic, the school division made sure that they served over 10 million meals to
which
children,
is big,
which is huge. So every public housing development, which I don't like to call public housing or project housing, but a community in need, a community that need different things that have barriers. We made sure that every student, every household had either a hotspot or a Chromebook. And even though that process came with challenges, we did not want to have the external barrier of our students being successful during virtual learning. My nonprofit, Northside Coalition for Children, that's where you and I also know each other from.
Because you are really big supporters of the Richmond Children's Business Fair.
Absolutely, absolutely. We provide
the backpacks.
The backpacks.
You're known for that one. The backpacks and the school supplies.
Absolutely.
Yes, you
are.
For
14 years we've done that, and we have touched the lives of thousands of children in Richmond City Public Schools, also Petersburg, Hanover County. And so one of the things that is not talked about a lot, and that's why I'm so excited that you asked about the good news, the successes of Richmond Public Schools, is that even though we may have vacancies and we may need additional resources, we have people that return to the division to teach our children. And so that's not talked about. We have people that are faithful to the work that they do. And so when we work with those teachers and see those teachers and administrators, boots on the ground, if you will, every day working with our children, it has brought many, many, many differences and decreases in achievement gaps for our children. We have a ways to go. I will be the first to tell anyone that we have a ways to go. However, that is always a process when you're dealing with a division that is plagued by barriers that are beyond our control, such as violence, such as abuse in the home, a lack of parental engagement on the secondary level. But the good news, the great news is that we are working together to ensure that our students receive a educational equity, educational justice, and also educational equality. That is critically important.
One of Mike, Dr. Muhammed is here with us. So Richmond has challenges that the other counties don't have.
Well, the counties
have different things.
They're just not.
But the enthusiasm gap that they have when people let you know I'm a product of Richmond City Schools is big. I mean, people will let you know that in a minute. So pretty good. So that's the thing that you guys have. Let's talk about on the board. You guys, different people have different agendas, but during a very important time, you guys buckled down and got deals done to make things happen. Where people would think that you can't, because the other times people are arguing this and that. But those are things, they seem big at the moment. But then all of a sudden, we have to educate these kids, and they can't come to school, and we got to make magic happen. Talk about that process.
I always tell people, don't allow a false narrative to cloud what is really happening. And so we do take care of the business, and I take the business of our division very seriously, which means holding everyone in leadership accountable for the process of the trajectory of our student achievement. That is a must, and you do that by ensuring that your policies and your procedures and the processes are equitable for all students. And sometimes that is an argument. Sometimes that is a downright fight. But when you understand, and I do, because this is the work I do every day. I've been a principal, I've been an assistant principal, I've been a math teacher. I started my career as a substitute teacher 31 years ago, and I worked my way through the ranks to be where I am today. So I don't just know what I'm talking about.
You've been there.
I've been there. And this is why I fight for the policies and I break down the information the way I do to people, because you can take one part of what's happening and one part of what you think is happening, and then you make that what's happening, and that's not necessarily the case. And so when I speak to the public about what is going on, is because I know what's going on, because I've been in what's going on, and it's not much that I don't see what's happening, because this is the work that I do every day. So it's an advantage and a disadvantage to that.
Dr. Muhammad is here with us. One of the things I do want to talk to you about is that 31 years ago when you started, teaching and educating was a lot different.
It was a lot different.
It was a lot different. Now, you know, then you were the teacher. Now teacher, educator, therapist, nutritionist, all those things. Absolutely. Where do we find the next generation of you out there?
And let me say this, thank you, that's a great question. 31 years ago, we needed the health counselors, the mental health workers, the social workers, the psychologists, the speech therapists. 31 years ago, we did need them. However, how do we find people that have been called and appointed for this type of service? We have to continue to raise them in the way that they should go, of equity for all, not just for some, not because you have money, not because you talk the loudest, not because you write the best, but for all. And so when we walk in the path of equity every day in every decision that we make, and I'm so blessed and honored to be on the school board, to be a voice because I was one of those children. When I look at those children, I was them. And so I grew up having to mix water and milk together to make some cereal. I grew up trying to worrying about where the next roll of toilet paper was coming from. This is real. So I'm not bringing something that I think happened. I'm bringing an experience of what I know has happened and is happening in our children's households, because I was one of them. And I'm very passionate. I'm extremely passionate in my soul about doing right by all children, regardless of what their zip code is.
There you go, Dr. Muhammad. So real quickly, your book, your chapter in the book, let's give us a highlight of it. I know you can't give away too much.
Yes, not giving away too much. You have to read the book.
You got to buy the book. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Buy the book.
You know, go ahead and buy the book.
My chapter is about the abuse and trauma that I endured as a child. And so I'm gonna leave that right there.
There you go. Because that's a media. So you know how to work the media. That's the